Chapter 12. I will, I will, I will, I will. If you haven't the desire, by this time, to improve your own individual position in life, you had better stop reading right now and burn this. But if you are fired with new resolution to get somewhere, then I can assure you that you are on your way to progress. Some types of individuals will read a book like this, as they have read The Magic of Believing and similar books, with mental chips on their shoulders. Many of them have had a smattering of every kind of ism. They have delved into occult subjects, Hindu philosophies. They have tried to spiritualize through faddish diets, all forms of self-denial, sublimation of sex, and so on. They have exposed themselves to practical psychology, unity, astrology. They know all there is to be known, and still nothing has helped them. Such people write in to say, not without some bitterness, I have had very little results from my study of metaphysics, through no fault of mine, for I am conceded to be a good student, an intelligent person, and I understand the principles of metaphysics perfectly. I am very sorry to report, and so disappointed too, that I am not getting any results from the methods outlined in your book. Now these are no words of mine. This is a direct quotation from one of a number of letters I have received from well-meaning men and women who have gone from one book on religion and philosophy and ism and metaphysical practice to another, sampling here and sampling there, to prove to themselves that nothing will work for them. They want help desperately, but their mental and emotional attitude is such that they won't let themselves receive help. They are intellectually superior to everything they study. They are telling themselves, this won't work for me, even while they are reading about a suggestion or a technique of thinking that has accomplished wonders for thousands of others. These people are the perfectionists who are looking for the faults, the inconsistencies, the fallacies in everything, rather than for constructive and confirming points of agreement which can be applied to the solving of problems and correcting of unhappy conditions in their own lives. Subconsciously, something has happened to these men and women which has caused them to want to remain problem children to themselves and others. It is a way of getting attention, indulging their self-pity, getting even with a parent or someone else whom they feel has not treated them right or done enough for them. To salve their conscience for their inability to meet life as they should, they keep on studying metaphysics so they can continue to prove that they can't be helped, no matter how much they try. One woman of this type confessed to me, I've been dealt one severe blow after another. I have always strived constantly to improve conditions in my life through metaphysics and prayer, but without success. I can get conditions to start changing for the better, and it will appear as though things have come right for me, and that I will have happiness. But something always happens, and my life pattern swings around back into the same old tragic, monotonous, nonsensical way, only it's worse each time. By now, trouble, tragedy, unhappiness, and loneliness have gotten to be a fixed idea in my consciousness which I can't break, try as I may. Of course, it is difficult to see ourselves as others see us, to get an outside perspective, an impersonal evaluation of what we are doing to ourselves through our wrong thinking that has been contributing to the unhappy conditions we continue to attract. The same woman went on to say to me, It's not true, your statement that a person should always do something for the other fellow, for it pays dividends. Since a child, I have been doing good deeds for others, but no one has ever done anything for me. People have come into my life under the guise of friends, accepting and taking advantage of my hospitality and generosity. Practically all of these so-called friends turned out to be merely spongers. There is far more truth in the old saying, people will ride a free horse to death, than in the Bible verse, cast your bread on the waters, and after many days it shall return unto you. I have been casting my bread on the waters all my life, and it has not returned to me yet. Evidently, someone else grabs it before it gets back to me. Do you detect that mental chip on her shoulder? You cannot do a calculated good deed for another person expecting something in return. This is not free-spirited giving. Nor can you help others who do not want help. They will resent it, and rightfully. When people insist on being nice to you for no apparent reason, it makes you suspicious. You say to yourself, why are they going out of their way to do these things? Why are they trying to place me under obligation? What are they getting ready to request of me in exchange? You've heard many men and women say, after all I've done for so-and-so, can you imagine this person treating me the way he has? There are times when friends and relatives selfishly or designedly take advantage of us, but there are also times when we mistakenly expect too much, when we get paid back in the kind of coin we give out. This woman, and many like her, subconsciously expect the worst while hoping for the best. And of course, the worst always happens eventually, because this is the strongest, most emotionalized thought in her mind. She keeps herself magnetized, not to good, but to bad conditions, and thereby causes that something, the creative power within, to produce a perpetuation of the unhappy experiences of her past. She expects people to be inconsiderate, to take advantage of her, to extend no help in time of need, and she works the creative law of life infallibly against herself. She is even picturing someone grabbing the bread she has cast upon the waters before it gets back to her. Isn't this an inspired sample of visualization? What can anyone expect from such mental picturing? Certainly not a loaf of bread, not even a crumb. You who have gained an understanding of how mind functions can see that this unhappy woman is a classic example of one who is operating the power successfully in reverse. There is one great underlying fallacy in the thinking of these types of people. If they could only realize it, they could free themselves from their erroneous, fixed ideas and snap out of their difficulties in a hurry. The fallacy is this. People who claim they have never been able to make their higher powers of mind work for them have, on the contrary, through wrong thinking, forced these very powers to work against them. They have caused these powers to produce failure instead of success, misery instead of happiness. Are you using the power within against yourself? Ask yourself now, frankly and honestly, have you been doing this in whole or in part? If you have, this is the root of your trouble. You haven't wanted to admit you have been misusing your life forces, your higher powers of mind. But there is only one power in you, and you must use it either for good or for ill, as the result of every thought you think, every emotionalized picture you place in consciousness. Change your thinking, and you instantly commence to change conditions around you. Change the direction of a magnet, and it changes the field around it, immediately, automatically. But if you vacillate back and forth from good to bad, you lose what you have gained and produce an unsettled, unhappy result. You must hold your magnetization on what you want until it has been received. This requires an exercise of will, a developed determination, a resolution to follow through, to stay with your constructive thinking, your right mental picturing, for as long as is necessary to enable that something, the creative power within, to help you reach your objective. I will, I will, I will, I will. Say this to yourself again and again, and mean it. Look in the mirror and say it. Write it down and say it. Speak it out loud to yourself when you are going about your day's activities. I will, I will, I will, I will. Make this resolution a part of your consciousness. Build up such a strength of determination within that nothing can shake it. One day, a man was trying to get a bulky mule to move. You've probably heard the story. His boss came along and said, "George, why don't you try your willpower on it?" George shook his head. "I tried it already, but it won't do any good. He's using his won't power." Are you using your won't power? Are you telling yourself, deep down underneath, that owing to past failures, it won't be any use to try? If you are killing off your willpower at the very start. You can't say to yourself on the surface, "I will," when something in your inner mind is saying right back to you, but you can't. You won't. The hardest people in this world to help are those who tell you at the very outset, "I can't. I won't." Won't power is simply willpower in reverse. You can get the same results from both because they'll each serve you infallibly as you call upon them. But won't power can bring you nothing, and willpower can bring you everything. So why not choose your willpower? Why stubbornly cling to your won't power? Because perhaps you don't really want to make the effort that will be required to help yourself, because you lack the faith in yourself and in the power within that you should have, because you are afraid of trying and failing once again. You've got to start sometime if you ever hope to make anything more of yourself than you are now. Are you satisfied with yourself as you exist at the present moment? Do you think the world owes you a living, that others should help you whether you try to help yourself or not, that if you hold on long enough and suffer long enough, a change for the better is going to come anyway? Don't kid yourself. There is only one way out of trouble, and you have to lead the way. No one else can lead you or push you. Others can show you the way, set you on your feet and point you in the right direction, but you've got to do the walking. I will, I will, I will, I will. This does it. I will puts steam in your boilers, blows the top off inertia, starts sluggish brain cells into motion, puts new life and drive into body and mind. I won't paralyze this initiative, incentive, enthusiasm. It stops everything from functioning, congests body and mind, and takes all the zest and purpose out of living. Inject yourself with I will power. Step right up. Which do you want? An injection of I will power or I won't power? This is the most important decision you can ever make. Your whole future depends upon it. The first injection will bring you a greater measure of happiness, success, and health than you have ever realized before. The second injection will bring you a greater measure of misery, failure, and ill health. Take your choice. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. Both powers are equally available and equally reliable. They will work the moment you put them into operation by saying, I will or I won't. It is inconceivable that you will accept a further injection of I won't, but you might if you still hold hatred and resentment in your mind and heart, if you are sore at the world or at society, and still want to prove that no power in heaven or in earth can help or will help you. A fixed idea is not easy to blast out of consciousness, but I will is the power that can do it. If you have gotten into the habit of enjoying the worst, this habit will resist eviction to the last. You'll have to be hard-boiled, ruthless with yourself and your past faults and weaknesses. Don't let self-pity take possession of you or any self-defensive feelings. If you do, I can't and I won't will remain in control. They will oppose I will as long as they can, because they know they're through when I will moves in. How about it? Have you joined the ranks of the I willers? If you have, don't ever again look back upon your I won't days. You have new, ever-widening roads ahead, filled with eager, joyous, progressing individuals who have added I can to I will and are reaching objectives in their lives they never dared dream of before. Say to yourself right now, I will, I will, I will, I will. Doesn't it do something to you inside? Doesn't it lift your spirits, give you new hope, new ambition, new determination, new self-confidence? Say I will and believe it, and you are on your way out of all past difficulties forever.